This is Major Bryce to ground control. I'm stepping to the plate, and I'm swinging in a most peculiar way. And the fans look very different today. Well, London's calling. We are on our way. This is going to be pretty awesome, except for a shirt or two. Nothing more on this earth for this coming miniseries for Stott to be standing on second base and just staring at Lindor. I don't want anything more than this currently, just for the series. And for him to get up and say, "You're face to face with the man who stole this bag." Another Bowie shout out. How you doing? You know what? I bet you. Wait. That might get us in trouble. No, it won't get us in trouble because we're not professional athletes betting on a sport we play in and potentially facing a year suspension or a lifetime ban from the sport that you were so good to make. So yeah, don't bet on the sport you play in. Pretty simple. Here's the story of a man named Scotty who was busy with 3 boys of his own. They were teamless into the spring, and they really suck. Boris really fumbled the bag for his big 3 this offseason. We're looking at 2 starting pitchers who, if it wasn't for their money, would not be on any roster. Don't get me started on Montgomery's clauses because they are ridiculous. A player from 2022 is featured on a Mets promo in London. MLB. I've said it once. I'll say it again. MLB is shite from an arse at marketing. It's disgusting that they're allowed to keep doing this. 4 teams above 500 in the NL. 4 teams in the AL Central. Jay, are we experiencing a downtick in talent, or is this strictly production-based and everyone's just underperforming? All this and more for this week's installment of Drunks in the Pond. Be sure to like, follow, comment, say hi on all of our socials, including YouTube. Jay, let's head on to the pitch and crack 5 open and get frisky. Let's do it, wanker.
Let's do it. What's up, buddy? Drunks on the Pond, episode 12, coming to you.
From America.
Glad to be back.
From America.
In the old home country, the US of A. Couple things to start it off, I guess. Shout out to one Justin Henry Malloy of the Detroit Tigers, who hit his first career home run. And what made it more special was that he had both parents in the stadium watching it as it happened. The most genuine parental reaction I think I've ever seen to a home run. I couldn't be happier for the guy. Here's to many more. The guy is going to have a great career. And the second thing I want to bring up right now is that I was scrolling through the socials and I saw something that I genuinely could not believe. There is a petition starting, and Rich, I'm doing a callback here because you're going to love this. I'm telling you, you're going to love it. They are starting a petition for Martin Maldonado to start as the catcher for the American League All-Star team.
Who is they?
I have no idea.
Who is
I
they?
love it. I want to sign it. I want to sign it so bad, just for the solo fact. And I was telling you this earlier, and it still kills me. Martin Maldonado's batting average is so bad, it's legally sober. Like, he is hitting
Jesus.
.074, I think. His batting average is his batting average can drive. He's fine.
I'm just telling you right now. He's no friend of ours on this pod.
Oh, no, we will trash Martin Maldonado any chance we get. But in all honesty, we should more be trashing the White Sox for even giving him that contract because
horrible.
everybody and their sister knows that Martin Maldonado cannot hit outside of Houston. He can't do shit outside of Houston. If
I
he's
don't
not
understand.
all,
I don't understand
go
how
ahead.
that stadium, that team, was the only place he had talent.
I don't know. It's bewildering. I would maybe the pitchers, like maybe just the surrounding team. I, I I don't know, but all I know is he's in Chicago and he is doing worse than what we talked about before. It's actually kind of embarrassing.
Is this one of those weird situations of it's not what you know, it's who you know? And he just doesn't know anything about Chicago or any of the players that are on his team?
See, I wouldn't even say that to be honest, because it's like it's not what you're doing, it's what you did. And his last year in Houston, I mean, he had like an okay year,
It was solid
but
for a catcher.
even then, it was like a proven fact that if you take him out of Houston, he's going to be dog shit. And the White Sox were just cross-eyed, just like, oh, how does $4 million sound? And Martin Maldonado's like, you fucking morons, man. Signed the contract, and now he's sober batting average.
Walking back from signing that contract going, thanks.
Yeah. Thanks.
It's all smug. Thanks.
What a prick, man. What
Oh,
a
God,
fucking prick.
it's hilarious that there's players out there that know they're going to take advantage of teams. Blake Snell, Jordan Montgomery.
Like, if you go to my Google search and you type in Martin, it is just purple. Martin Maldonado stats, Martin Maldonado petition, Martin Maldonado worst catcher in the league, question mark. Martin Maldonado absolutely blows, exclamation point. Like, we are so we're so against Martin Maldonado. It's not even fair, man.
I've never seen a player who was sought after to come to a really bad team and be the worst player on that team. But
So
in fairness, according to baseball stats, he's not the worst on that team.
that's not possible. It's not possible.
Benny Biceps is the worst player in baseball currently.
I love Benintendi, man. Well, with the Red Sox, I did. With the White
Because
Sox,
what else has he done?
nothing. He hasn't done
Like
dick.
he got the bag from Kansas City, and Kansas City was like, dude, we don't want you here. We're gonna send you to New York. And then New York was like, Benny. What happened, dude? You did you forget how to baseball? And the answer is yes. Yes, he did. Because now he is an absolute horrible fielder.
Like, I can tell you one thing. He's no Benny the Jet Rodriguez. Like, not in the slightest.
There's
And
only two Bennies in baseball I've ever respected. 3.
oh,
3. We
I'm
got Benny
very
the Jet.
interested. Okay,
Of course. Benny the Jet.
obvious.
Fictitious or not, the goat of Bennies. And then we got a guy who was fast enough to outlast Paul Revere's horse, Ben Revere.
Yeah. That's a good one. I like Ben Revere.
Ben Revere was, dude, he was a stud. You know, at one point he led the NL in hits for a season.
You know he hit his first home run as a Philadelphia Philly, first career home run.
And last.
I'm trying so hard to get him on this pod. I want to talk to Ben Revere so bad.
I would love to. I would love to.
That would be so cool, so fun.
I don't care where he is and what time zone he's in and what time we do the podcast. That episode will be called Midnight Run.
I'm fine with that. Now, you said those two were your favorite Bennies, and then you threw a third one in there, trying to sneak it by. Who's the third?
All right, dude, I'm a big dude.
I think I know where you're going with this.
You gotta love big dudes in baseball.
Yeah, I'm all for it.
It's always fun.
Are you
Some of
going
the
where I
best
think
guys
you're
to watch.
going?
Benji Molina.
Yes. Yep. Benny
Oh,
Molina.
that's-
Oh, I knew it. That fat motherfucker eating crackers at home plate. Oh, I love it.
Dude,
What
that's
a
one of the
guy.
coolest. That's one of the coolest, most G things I've ever seen in my life.
Man was snacking on some peanut butter crackers at home plate, playing his
Let me
brother that same day.
let me
What a
eat some
guy.
really dry stuff in the middle of baseball season while I'm behind the plate in a mask that makes my face sweat so much. Oh, it's fantastic. I love it.
Nothing but respect for Benny Molina and nothing but pure hate for Martin Maldonado. And a quick callback. The last time we talked about Martin Maldonado on this pod, we made fun of his average being 100 because he was batting 5 for 50. Since that episode, which was well over a month, maybe 2 months ago now, he is now. This is crazy. He's 7 for 92. He's gotten 2 hits, 2 in the span of.
With 42 more at bats.
He's gone 2 for 42 since we made fun of him for being 5 for 50. Like, he is so bad. That's so bad. That's so bad. He's making $4 million this year.
Honestly, you give me 150 at bats. Give me 150 at bats. You can get 3 hits.
Yeah, I'm definitely making some kind of contact at some point,
I'll take league minimum.
dude,
That's not a Bauer shout out. That's not a Bauer shout out. But I'll take league minimum. I'll take league minimum. Hell yeah. You give me 750K, shit, you can peg me 2 times a game.
Jesus.
With
Like,
the pitcher can. The pitcher can with a ball. Not
like
the other kind.
we sit here and trash like Andrew Benintendi, but I mean, listen, he's not much better, but he's 37 for 190 with a .195 batting average. So obviously he's still bad, but Martin Maldonado is on his own tier of like dog shit.
Yeah.
Like
that
the tier,
is
like the tier's literally just called Martin Maldonado or worse, and it's
it's that white dog shit.
You're gonna lick that white dog shit.
Oh. Oh.
It's so bad, man. So bad.
It's funny because it's the White Sox and white dog shit.
Oh man, so many great fucking things. I mean,
Dude,
what do you got on the plate for the appetizers, man? What do you got?
oh. So, as I mentioned in the intro, the MLB used Jake Reed from the Mets on a poster for promos in London, which is occurring Saturday and Sunday. But also, they've had this plastered up they're going to have it up for 5 to 6 days. Well, Adam Ottavino and Reed Garrett are on the poster. 2 current Mets. Jake Reed has not been on the Mets since 2022. It's just, I don't understand how you fumbled that hard on marketing. You have their roster at your disposal. And if you don't, you have a phone that can access their roster. The guy hasn't been on the team in 2 years. And you put him in promo posters all around the city. I know it's a foreign city. How are they going to be able to tell 3 guys who look very similar apart from a team that they've never seen before? Well, unfortunately, 99.9% of your fan base is still here in the USA. And they are like, what did you do? You morons. I I don't understand what exactly they're doing with the London promos and London merch and everything like that. Um, so the MLB made a T-shirt. I'm sorry, a button-up. It is absolutely disgraceful. It has the Mets and Phillies logo in white on a tan khaki background where it looks like a bowling shirt, Hawaiian shirt, however you want to describe it. A button-up short sleeve. Who in their right mind would ever buy two rival teams' logos on the same item? This is already, like, the comparisons have been made. This is like buying a Manchester City and Man United shirt where both those logos are on it. I don't get it because it is literally, can't the best team win? Or I'm rooting for both teams.
That's exactly what
No,
it is.
no, you're not. American sports rivalries are very different than what they do in the UK. There's literally gangs, or I should say, functions or things along those lines. They're not gangs. They don't shoot off drive-bys and all that stuff. No, because guns are illegal. What they do is they will fight the opposing team's supporters, which I would love to do to the Mets. But rivalries are more intense and respected there than they are here. We don't typically fight in the stands. But also, we're allowed to intermingle with our rivals in the stands. You could have one Phillies fan sitting in between 200 Mets fans, or vice versa. Over there, for their football clubs, they're on opposite sides of the pitch so that no bloodshed happens inside the stadium. Outside, fair game. I mean, cops will be there, but fair game. Don't you dare tell me this was a good idea. It's got to be the absolute dumbest thing I've ever seen. And it was made by the MLB. I'm sorry, commissioned by the MLB. But you guys are absolutely dropping the ball on everything. You're pathetic. Know your audience.
So, I want to start by saying this. The promo picture of of the pitchers, that's bad. Where it gets worse is that none of those guys are considered stars for the New York Mets.
What happened to Lindor, Alonso?
How do you not have Pete Alonso, Francisco Lindor, and if you want, throw Brandon Nimmo or Jeff McNeil or Brett Beatty or Francisco Alvarez, who is hurt right now, but he's still your catcher for the future. You could throw any of those guys on there, and people are like, oh, wow, look, it's Pete Alonso. Like, people are probably walking the streets going, oi, who the fuck's that? Like,
probably doing all three of them, but still.
Like, how do you drop the ball on not having your three top players for the team as your main point to get views? Like,
it baffles
three
me.
Relief pitchers. That's like the Phillies going out there and putting Gregory Soto, Jose Ruiz, and Orion Kerkering. It's like, no, they're obviously going to throw Bryce Harper, Trey Turner, and probably Kyle Schwarber, JT. You can literally mix any of the Phillies players, and
our entire
you'll be
starting
fine.
nine. Our entire starting nine can be intermingled, interchanged. It's fine.
You could put the whole team on the fucking poster, and
Would anybody complain? No, I would probably
they'll
buy
be
that poster.
completely fine. You could have Rob Thompson stand there by himself, cross-armed, and people are gonna be like, "Oh, dude, look at Rob Thompson. That's pretty cool."
Yeah, I would love a Topper poster.
Like, it's just like you do this. I don't know, maybe once or twice a year. Well, I know you do London, I think once a year, and then you like throw a game somewhere else. Like they had the game in South Korea at the beginning of the year with the Dodgers and Padres. But this isn't something you do all the time. So you should try to market this as much as possible. You put a pitcher who hasn't been on the team since 2022, 2 years ago. And it's not like this dude was like a stud with like a 17-0 record. As far as I know, this dude was 0-2 and he had an ERA of 9. This dude sucked. Correct. Like, he was dog shit. The man was horrible. They're dropping the ball so hard with this, and you just gotta laugh. Now, when it comes...
I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get it. Like, I'm just agreeing with you in all facets. Like, I just don't get it.
Now, on the shirt, I'll be honest with you. When I saw this thing, I was stunned silent. I could not believe that somebody put that in front of the MLB and said, "How about this shirt?" And they were like, "That's the greatest shirt we've ever seen." Like, how did no one stand up and go, "Dude, these teams hate each other. Why the fuck would we put them on the same shirt?"
Especially on a 2.5 Men Charlie Harper shirt. Like, what the hell?
Like, this is one of the ugliest, worst shirt designs you could have. This is... it's bad, but could you imagine if this was like the Yankees and the Red Sox playing in London?
Oh, Jesus.
And they put those two teams on the same shirt? Dude, that would start a fight. That would start a brawl.
That might be just as bad as Palestine-Israel.
Like, exactly. You put those two flags on the same shirt?
No, yeah.
But
it's
like, not. I don't understand how MLB continues just to suck this bad at marketing. And just random decisions. Like, listen, we gave them mad props last week for doing what they did for the Negro Leagues. Like, fantastic. that was an excellent decision. Round of applause for them. They did a great job with that. And then you show up this week and you drop the worst promotion of all time for your overseas game, and then you drop the worst merchandise for it. Like, and shout out to Martin Maldonado. Martin Maldonado could go 2 for 4, and you're like, hey, you know what? Good job. Way to turn it around. And then he comes back out the next game and goes 0 for 4 with 4 strikeouts. And you're like, God damn it, dude. Like, just when we start giving you credit, you just shit the goddamn bed.
It's pathetic. So, like, just adding on to this, do you think the fans are doing a better job promoting this than the actual MLB?
125%.
I mean, we've seen some great pictures from fans, but also from the individual teams, not the MLB. The Phillies themselves have put out some great pictures. There was an awesome picture. I hate to admit it. It was an awesome picture that I saw posted by the Phillies themselves of the Fanatic, Mr. and Mrs. Met walking, and the London Bridge was in the background. Awesome picture. Awesome picture. MLB did not do that. The Phillies and the Mets cohesively did that. Just because they cohesively did that does not mean they need a shirt.
Yeah.
No, this is not why can't we be friends?
Why can't we be friends?
No, that's horseshit. They did it because it's good for the sport. But like
MLB should have been all over that. The very minute the mascots landed, that they should have been like, let's put these 3 in front of Big Ben or the London Bridge, and let's be like, the baseball has made it. You put out that picture, you're getting millions of views. You're getting millions of views, thousands of shares.
The Fanatic in the Royal Guard, or in the Guard's outfit, whatever. I'm drawing a blank on what it's called. Yeah, he's right in front of Buckingham Palace. Awesome picture.
Yeah.
Awesome picture. Like, credit to whoever decided to do Abbey Road for the Phillies, where it's
Yeah.
the Stay Loose and Sexy band, where it's Marsh, Stubbs, Pache, and Schwarber. Credit to them. Love that idea. That was fantastic. And even more awesome that they actually decided to keep true to the form of the Abbey Road picture where Stubbsy isn't wearing shoes. Just makes all the sense. It's fantastic. But where is the intelligence of the MLB? It's the fans who are making this more enjoyable because as baseball fans, we're watching them shit the bed.
So I want to give a quick shout out here, and I'm going to tag them after this. Shout out to Phillies UK on Twitter. Like, the guy is a diehard Phillies fan. He's obviously from the United Kingdom, and he runs that Twitter page. They have a bar in London that's literally called Passyunk Avenue,
It's awesome.
where they just play the Phillies games. It's a Phillies bar, pretty much. The Phillies, specifically Rob Thompson, Dusty Wathan, and Larry Boa, showed up to this bar, and everybody went ape shit. Phillies UK was all over it. Phillies UK was hanging out with Chase Utley, talking about what this game means. Like,
he's the European ambassador.
he is doing more for this game than what MLB has done in the past year with promotions. Like,
Absolutely.
Phillies UK has been all over it, and it's also I follow him on Twitter. And I'm constantly just refreshing his feed because I want to know what's going on over there. But dude, they're all hanging out. They're going out to the bars, drinking.
Blast.
Dude, they're having a fun time, man. Oh man, to be able to afford it that trip and the time off, I would have been there in a heartbeat.
They're knocking back a few points.
Oh man, like, could you just imagine like being a huge Phillies fan in London, and being like, man, it's like I would love to see them play for once, and then you get like the alert on your phone. Phillies Mets will play in London 2024, and you're like, oh my god, I can't believe it. I'm finally seeing them. And then a couple of days before, you're at Passyunk Ave knocking back some Guinness or whatever they're drinking over there. And who walks in the door but Rob Thompson, the manager of your favorite team? And you're like, dude, no fucking way.
Did he
Like,
show up with his wife's pocketbook?
Like, that's just got to be so cool, man. I'm so happy for the baseball fans in London who have been waiting for this moment.
Same.
And they're finally going to have their chance to watch their teams. Like, this is so cool.
It's pretty fantastic that we're even there. Because I don't think the Phillies have ever played anywhere outside of America besides Canada. Maybe Mexico as in an exhibition at some point. But
yeah, maybe.
Canada, obviously.
Outside of that, no, I think they've mainly been...
They've been mainlanders. Let's just put it that way. But this is awesome. This is good for the sport. If marketing would do its job properly from the league.
Yeah.
Like, I swear, the only people running marketing over there have never had the internet.
That's fair.
Either that or they're still on dial-up. And they're still waiting for their next Netscape 7-day trial CD to come in the mail. Like, what the hell? Put some youth and intelligence and, I don't know, people who are from this planet and this day and age in charge of your marketing, because this is just an embarrassment. This is literally people who I'm pretty sure are pissed off still about a kid with a ball and a stick. Or a stick and a wheel going down the street. They're like, no, that's going to rot their brains. Now, we got too much electronics to even worry about a stick and a wheel. But these people, they don't even know that. They're just out of touch. I don't get it. It makes me so angry.
So, speaking on terms of being angry, I got to tell you about this shit I saw that legit pissed me off to no end because
Ooh.
it's watching something fail and then wanting to try it again. And
Oh, the definition
Rich,
of insanity?
yup, you may or may not have seen this, but the Tampa Bay Rays have released the rendering of the new 1.3 billion with a B dollar stadium in St. Petersburg. So obviously the Rays want to upgrade their stadium. Okay. Now, here's where I'm annoyed. The Marlins just did this a little over 10 years ago because they said we want more fans to come to the ballpark. Okay, no problem. For the first year or so, the Marlins drew solid crowds. You know, they had that dumb, ugly ass statue in center field, which now we all kind of want back because now the Marlins just have a bland ass ballpark. But since that 1 year, that stadium has been damn near almost empty. Like, fans just don't give a fuck. What makes Tampa Bay Rays think that this is going to be any bit goddamn different? They're going to draw good crowds for maybe the first year or two, and then after that, guess what? No one's going to give a fuck. Why? Because baseball does not succeed in Florida when you have two teams. And you can save the whole argument, well, they're really not that close. Okay, but guess what? Even them being this far apart, they still can't draw goddamn crowds because nobody gives a fuck.
I mean, like, that whole, like, being close and far argument is horseshit. Look at Chicago. Look at New York. That's two extremely populated cities that have two teams within the same city, and they both somehow are always full. Like, Cubs, I understand. White Sox, I don't understand right now. Yankees, I get it. Mets, I don't understand how they even have the lights on. I feel like that might just be an issue. But you're absolutely right. Florida, I think the biggest issue there is there's too many transplants. I mean, most of the people who are from Florida think that the best thing they could ever do for themselves is leave Florida. But then you have all the old retired people who moved to Florida and think it's the best thing they could ever do for themselves. These are people from other cities that care about other teams from the cities they were from. Now, when you have the Phillies at, SunTrust Park for the Marlins?
Something like that.
It's
Sounds
not
about right.
It's not Pro Player Stadium anymore. I'll tell you that.
No, I definitely think it's SunTrust.
Yeah, MVP Baseball 05, it was Pro Player Stadium because they shared it with the Dolphins. But now you get a good Phillies team, even a mediocre Phillies team in Florida, there's more Phillies fans in that stadium because of all the people who have retired from Philadelphia and the surrounding area to move down to Florida.
Yeah.
Within the Miami area. Like, Tampa's another retirement community. You get teams from not Tampa to play in that stadium, people show up, but they're not Tampa fans. And it's just, stop putting stadiums and giving it to cities that don't have strong local fan bases.
See, the one thing that pisses me off the most, it doesn't piss me off the most, it pisses me off a fair amount. The one complaint that people have with Tampa Bay Stadium right now is that it is a motherfucker to get to and to get home from. Like, it sucks.
It's awful. I hear it's awful.
There's one road in, one road out. That's how you get to the stadium. Nothing like Philly where you can get off the Platte Bridge, you can take 95, you can take Broad Street. There's a ton of ways to get to Citizens Bank.
Countless ways, yeah.
St. Petersburg, whatever Tampa Bay Stadium is, one road. You're telling me that instead of putting this stadium where, more people can get to it from different parts, you're putting it still in St. Petersburg. You're not changing a fucking thing except just making a new stadium and making it look nice. This doesn't solve anything. Tampa Bay has a bigger problem than their stadium. Does their stadium suck? Absolutely. But Tampa Bay cannot draw a goddamn crowd for its life. The last time they drew a crowd was probably when we played them in the '08 World Series.
And that's right after they changed the logo and everything. Thanks, Steve Irwin.
Like, my God, man. It's the stadium is not the problem. It's the goddamn team. It's the surrounding ass area.
Now, silly question.
Get the Rays out of Tampa. Jesus Christ.
I don't think this is something that you know off the top of your head. Where in relation is the Tampa Bay Bucs Stadium to the Rays Stadium?
All right, give me a second.
They don't have a problem drawing a crowd.
No, so
they can't be on that one road in, one road out.
If I remember correctly, when we went to visit my aunt, who lives down in the Tampa area, she was probably about 20, 25 minutes from the Rays Stadium one way, and then around, I want to say, 30 minutes to the Buccaneer Stadium. So you're talking from stadium to stadium, you're talking about maybe an hour, a little less. Because it's mostly like, highway.
Yeah, we're talking like that distance between Foxborough and Boston.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. So you're still within that area to be called that. Sure. But, I mean, nobody calls them the Boston Patriots. They're the New England. Even though the only people you ever hear talking about them are from Boston.
Yeah. Maybe a couple stragglers from Maine, but that's about it.
They're not real people.
The Maine.
They're lobsters. No, they're all lobsters. All lobsters. There's absolutely not a single human that lives there. It's all lobsters. It's 30 lobsters in a trench coat.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It's an expensive trench coat. Dude, it's just... Do I think Florida deserves baseball? Absolutely. Do I think it deserves two teams?
No.
Not really. But also, do I want baseball without the Rays and the Marlins? No. Do I want them to figure it out? Yeah. Absolutely.
No. I'd love to see them figure it out. But you're not going to figure anything out if you just put a ballpark in the same goddamn city where you're already having fucking problems.
Is it
like?
So I don't know like the actual like Google image of the stadium area for the Rays. Is it surrounded by water? Like, is it an island area?
Oh man, I'm trying to remember from photographic memory. I remember we were on a highway, obviously. I think there was a little bit of water on the right side of it.
So I mean, if they were smart, first 10,000 season ticket holders, free ferry rides. If you could do it, I don't know. I'm just spitballing because I've never looked at their Google image. I don't know where they are in relation to a body of water. But all that blue is just land, so I don't know.
So, there was something I thought about at work today. And we're going to the Oakland A's on this one. And it actually kind of pissed me off because I was like, this smart motherfucker.
Go on.
John Fisher did something that reminds me of what Walter O'Malley, former owner of the Brooklyn Dodgers, did. So follow me on this. When he was the owner of the Brooklyn Dodgers, the Dodgers were scuffling a little bit. They weren't they weren't the glory Dodgers. Walter O'Malley told Brooklyn, I want $2 million and you're going to build me a new stadium so I can properly drop a team here. Because the Dodgers played in a little town called Pigtown. Obviously, it was a little trashy. And
Sure.
he wanted to move them somewhere nice. The city was like, no way, not happening. No, it's not happening. Walter O'Malley's like, okay, well, I'm going to take my team and move. What did he do? Walter O'Malley took the Brooklyn Dodgers, flew them out to LA. They became the LA Dodgers. Now they have a nice history in Los Angeles. And then, everyone knows how the story goes with the Dodgers. I was sitting there, I was like, did John Fisher pull a Walter O'Malley? Like, did he go to Oakland to the people who, like the mayor and shit, and go like, I want to build a new stadium, and you're going to give me this money to do it? And they were like, dude, you don't draw a crowd. Like, why the hell are we going to do that for you? And John Fisher's like, okay, if you don't like it, well, then I'm going to take my team and we're going to move somewhere else. And now we're in the middle of talking about Oakland going to Sacramento for the next 3-4 seasons and then moving to Vegas. And I was just like, wow, there's a solid connection between those two. Now, obviously, we know how the Brooklyn Dodgers story goes to the Los Angeles Dodgers. Do we see the Las Vegas Athletics all of a sudden becoming some kind of dynasty? Probably not, because John Fisher's still a scumbag. But you never know.
I mean, what happened when the Vegas Knights showed up? What did they do in their first year?
Made playoffs, went to the Cup.
Didn't they win? So they won their first year.
Capitals won that one.
Oh, Ovechkin. That's right. But yeah, I mean, I want the A's to stay in Oakland more than anything for that franchise.
Oh, I
It's
agree.
just historically, if they don't stay in Oakland, they should be back here in Philly.
Oh, give me the Philadelphia Athletics back, for the love of God.
Would be
Please.
amazing. Would be amazing. This city deserves 2 baseball teams, without a doubt.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. So, did you hear the other news about the A's?
Probably not.
The A's have requested to play nearly 10% of their future home games not in their new stadium. The A's president, Dave Cavall, says neutral site games will help build the team's brand and attract new players and sponsors.
All right, hold on. My first question is, he said future home games. Are we talking future home games at the Sacramento minor league stadium?
I don't know, because I saw this from JS 9 Innings.
Okay.
Very, very reputable baseball account.
Yeah.
With what looks like a rendering of their new park underneath.
The one in Vegas.
Yeah, it's definitely not
Okay.
a minor league stadium. It looks like it has a partial roof on it, which is in Vegas.
Okay.
Dude, what? So, you want to play 16 games, give or take, because that's 10% of a season.
Yeah.
You want to play, 10% of 81 home
81.
games would be 8 games. The fuck is even that? Why would you... Never mind. I'm not going to contemplate why this was even brought up, but why would you want to not have your home games in your fucking $1 billion+ stadium?
There's no way he means Vegas. There's no way. Like, but even then, like, so I'm not sure how far Oakland is from Sacramento, but like you're going to have people that want to come up and see their team because they still love the Athletics. You're
Oakland
going
and
to give
Sacramento are
them
about an hour and a half away.
okay, so it's not that bad. You're going to
No.
give them 8 games of the year where they can actually come and see their team. Do you really think the MLB is going to sit down and go, okay, we need to figure out where to put this team for 154 games on the fucking road because they're only playing 8 games at home? Like, no, dude, that's not how this shit works. Like, we're not going to. If the MLB bows down to John Fisher, it's like, okay, we'll find 154 games for you to play on the road. Like, no. You got to play at your home ballpark. 10% of games? 10?
But what is
God.
what number is 8 games? Like, what formula, what person who's sitting there in a tweed jacket and thick rimmed glasses is looking at you and going, we should do 10%. We should do 10% as a neutral team. What advantage is that? Do you honestly think, what are the numbers saying to you as your projections? Saying, this is bonus sponsorship or added sponsorship and added revenue. How? And also, where are you doing this when you just built a $1 billion+ stadium or multi-billion-dollar stadium? What does that even mean? Why would you do a neutral site? What does that mean?
And that's the other thing. Like, okay, so the Oakland A's. Oh, shit, I
Nope.
said the O word. I said the O
Stop.
word. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Beep, beep, beep.
Anytime the Athletics have to play like the Phillies or any East Coast team, what is the neutral site that you talk about?
Is
Like,
that our stadium? Like our home team?
but like a neutral site is a space in between both stadiums. So
or
you're
just
talking-
neither team's home field?
So you're talking somewhere, like anywhere. Like, so what? We're supposed to just is every MLB team just supposed to start barnstorming at minor league stadiums just because Oakland doesn't want to play at home?
Or are
Like,
we meeting them halfway and we're
Like, how
both
does this work?
We're both playing a split series, like a 4-game series, 2 games home, 2 games away at Kansas City, because that's halfway.
Like, this is Oakland is digging such a hole for themselves that it's actually becoming a joke. Like,
they're alienating themselves out of like serious conversations of being competent owners, being a competent franchise. Dude, I feel so bad for the players. It's disgusting.
like and the saddest part is, if this is how they handle business, just wait till Mason Miller gets traded and you see the dog shit they get back in a trade. Like, it. Knowing
what are you talking about? We're giving them Aiden Miller.
Knowing our luck, it'll. Or, I'm sorry, knowing the Athletics luck, they'll be like, listen, we traded Mason Miller to the Braves. And they're like, okay, but I mean, at least we got like some top prospects back, right? They're like, we got back Sean Murphy and their number 17 prospect and cash considerations. And Oakland's just banging their head off the table, just whack, whack, whack. And John Fisher's like, what? I did what I could. It's like, you jerk off, man.
I brought back a star that you got rid of for Kristen Pache.
You traded him.
Yeah, a star that you got rid of for Christian Pache, who literally the Phillies stole from the A's.
Can I give a quick shout out here? Because I love throwing it in people's faces. Everyone was saying, fire Kevin Long, fire Kevin Long. He's a terrible hitting coach. Kevin Long has turned around Christian Pache, Brandon Marsh, those two right there.
Dude,
Get
hang
out of my
on.
face.
Don't end it yet. You're also forgetting Johan Rojas.
All because of Kevin Long, baby. So all you Kevin Long haters can suck a dick. Kevin Long's here to stay. If he can turn these three into viable two-sided weapons, I want Kevin Long here. Give him a blank check. Kevin Long is a goddamn king. And Caleb Cotham, the pitching coach, who's got 4 of the Phillies' 5 starters in the top 6 in the National League ERA.
Are we getting into it right now? We are, right?
Dude.
All right.
Man.
I'm going to give you 4 sets of numbers right now.
Okay.
1.70.
Okay.
2.23.
Okay.
2.71. And
Give it to me.
2.77. That is the top 6 starting pitchers in baseball. Not the National League. Baseball. The other 2 are Shota Imanaga.
Imanaga.
Yeah,
Imanaga.
Imanaga. And Javier Assad, who are both Cubs. The entire top 6 are 2 different teams.
Who's on the Phillies? Who is it?
We have Power Ranger Suarez, Mr. Ranger, and we got the Zack Attack Wheeler. We got Christopher, not Pablo, Sanchez, and Aaron, Nola, Nolans. Aaron Nola. He is. I was so tired of hearing everyone from the Philadelphia area saying that he is not an ace. Sit on it. Aaron Nola has been, in my opinion, he has been the best starting pitcher in the past 10 years in baseball because this guy, I'm not talking about numbers, I'm not talking about strikeouts, ERA, I'm not talking about any of that. The only other guy that anybody could try and argue, and this is a bad argument, but it's also valuable, and I'm going to value this argument, Patrick Corbin. This guy, like Aaron Nola, makes all of their starts, throws a shit ton of innings, and always, Jay, knock on some wood right now, stays healthy, does their job. Not every day is pretty. But we all know Aaron Nola has the stuff to be a Cy Young candidate. Every year. The dude has a 37-inch break on his 2-seam fastball. Name 5 other pitchers who can do that. Most people can't.
I can't
Most
even
people
give you
can't.
5 pitchers who could throw a 2-seamer.
Not anymore, because it's just not a sexy pitch. But Aaron Nola makes it look absolutely filthy.
The one thing I want to bring up, and it's crazy to think about. If Taijuan Walker was still hurt, we still had Spencer Turnbull in the rotation.
And he kept pace with what he was doing.
If Spencer Turnbull kept pace with what he was doing before he got sent to the bullpen, 5 of the 6 pitchers, 5 of the top 6 pitchers in all of baseball would be from the Philadelphia Phillies. Our entire starting rotation would be the best pitchers in baseball. How is that not genuinely insane? And listen, I like Taijuan Walker. The guy is a great human being.
Oh, sure, yeah.
He's a great human being. He stands up for a lot of great causes. Terrific guy. As a person, Taijuan Walker, one of the most genuine people in the world. I really do want the best for him. And like I said, I can't put the full blame on Taijuan Walker on this one because Dave Dombrowski was the one that gave him this contract that is currently strapped to the Phillies.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, he's just Taijuan Walker was not that $18 million guy. But did he look like it with the Mets in his last season? Absolutely. But we're finding out that he's not that guy, and now you're going to have to try and sell off a $18 million a year contract that no one's really going to buy unless you send something else with it.
You're not that guy, pal. You're not that guy. You're not that guy, pal.
And listen, like I said, it's a genuine shame because Taijuan Walker is a good dude.
Listen,
but
I think he has dynamic stuff. I think he has dynamic stuff.
It's a shame because his last start, every pitch just looked like it was going down the middle, and
they were all flat.
He got smoked, man. And I was just watching. I was like, if his stuff had a little bit more bite and movement to it, he would easily be one of the better pitchers along with the rest of the Phillies rotation.
Do you remember last year? Do you remember last year? It was up until I think August is kind of where he kind of broke down a little bit. Mid to late August.
He was really good in June last year. I remember that.
He was up there in wins for the league because every time he went out there, and it's just like this year, every time he goes out to that mound, we score runs in bunches.
Yep.
The dude, his ERA could be absolute poop. Like literally hot brown water poop. His ERA could be that bad. But he still gets wins. Because for some reason, and I don't mean this is a slight against him whatsoever, our offense shows up whenever he pitches. Like, yeah, sure, he has a couple losses. Not entirely his fault. Don't forget, the only way you win games is if you score runs.
So, the craziest thing to me is, like, speaking on Taijuan Walker, like you said, he could give up 6 runs a game. The Phillies will score 10, and he'll get the win.
Yeah, absolutely.
Reese Olson on the Tigers this year has the polar opposite luck, and it is.
Oh, I know.
It's insane.
Dude, like, he's your boy, man. He's your boy. You love that kid.
I love Reese Olson. I picked him up for a week on fantasy, but the losses, like
I know.
Hold on, just to start, his WHIP is 1.07. He has a 2.48 ERA, which is one of the best in the league to a certain point. His record, 1-6. He has 1 win and 6 losses. This dude cannot buy run support to save his life. This is the shit Jacob deGrom was going through 4 or 5 years ago when deGrom was going like 8 innings, giving up 1 run, and the Mets could not give him run support. It is insane. And watching Reese Olson pitch, it's awesome. The dude has great stuff. He can go deep into games. He will get hit a little bit, but he still limits damage. The Tigers' offense does not do him any favors. Spencer Torkelson was a top 5 pick, a top 3 pick. He just got sent to the minors because he can't hit the damn ball.
Torkelson was number 1 overall.
Yeah, okay. A number 1 overall pick. This kid should be hitting 40 home runs minimum. He should be a 4,100 guy. No doubt in my mind.
I mean, last year was the first time we saw any shade of brilliance from him. Because everything prior to that has been inconsistent. And I think the biggest issue currently with Torkelson is I think he suffered from the yips in some way. Like, the kid just can't get out of his own head. Like, I know he has all the talent. He was a top 10 pick in some leagues in fantasy this year. But, geez, man. Kind of crazy.
Like, and the other thing that's wild to me, like talking Spencer Torkelson being a number 1 pick, we're forgetting another number 1 pick that they got in their team. Casey Mize.
Is he hurt currently, or is he suffering in the minors?
No, I'm pretty sure he's in the rotation. Yeah, he just started on June 2nd.
Oh, cool.
So far this year, he's given up 28 earned runs. He's got a 1 win to 3 loss record, and he's got an ERA approaching 5. Like, this is insane.
The Tigers are above 500, correct?
I don't think so. I think they're
No, they're in the AL Central. The only team in the AL Central who's not above 500 is the White Sox. 4 teams in the Central are above 500.
take a quick look here. I got you. The Tigers, they're 31-31, so they're sitting directly on 500.
What'd I say?
I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just
bad is the White Sox.
It's more just genuinely surprising because, like, it's the Tigers, and I was a firm believer in the Tigers at the beginning of the year. I still believe in the Tigers, but when you look at the lineup, there's maybe 3 or 4 guys that are actually hitting the ball, and the other ones are just standing at the plate going like, "Man, how did I get here?"
So with all the losses, like you said, they're 31-31.
500 right on the nose.
Who the hell has their wins? Because it's not their starters.
Dude, it's gotta be the bullpen.
That bullpen's gonna have the most wins of all time for a season by the end of this year.
Yeah,
because every starter has like 6 losses, 3 to 6 losses. Like, Scooble's pitching out of his mind, but apparently
Scooble is saving that entire team.
But he's not. He's not. A 500 team means that everyone's doing what they can.
No, but he's keeping that team above water. There's no doubt about that.
He's their Carlton. He's their win day. I get it. But does he have the wins?
7 wins.
Okay, yeah. All right, so that's fair.
Yeah, he's got 7 wins in 12 games, and he's got a loss. So he's got 4 no decisions. And he probably got screwed because the Tigers just can't put up runs.
Sure.
Like,
hang on, I'm getting a phone call.
Okay, go ahead.
I just banged on him. Joe got locked in lids again. He has something to tell us.
Kick it.
Greetings, salutations, friends. Joe here again. I'm going to give you another dream lineup. Now, for this one, I'm going to go with my personal dream lineup. It is not going to be the greatest players, of all time. This is going to be some of my favorites, starting when I was a kid. First remembering baseball, to about 2010. So 1988 is when I really remember baseball, starting to love it. So 1988 to 2010. Because 2010 to present is going to be its own lineup. And I'm going to do some other lineups here as well. So we're going to start with, again, me growing up 1988 to 2010 dream lineup. And again, you guys might argue with this. Your lineup may be different. Well, probably will be different. But again, this is what we're going with for me. Life's on the line, and I got to pick from this era. These are the guys I'm going with. So without further ado, leading off for my dream lineup, playing left field, Ricky Henderson. Guy had more career home runs in the leadoff spot than anybody in Major League history. I think he had more walks, than anybody in history, or more runs, than anybody else in Major League history. The guy can flat out get on base, and obviously more steals too. So going to have a pretty speedy lineup at the top. So Ricky Henderson leading off. Second, in right field, one of my favorite baseball players of all time, Ichiro. I'll go into another story later on about the first time I ever saw Ichiro play baseball was a doubleheader against the Mets, and he went 7 for 11. A lot more detailed story into it, but Ichiro is amazing. I say it all the time as a Phillies fan. My 2 favorite baseball players of all time are Mariners, which I find interesting. But again, a lot of speed at the top, man. So I got Ichiro playing right. Then batting third, going to my favorite baseball player of all time, and again, another Seattle Mariner, one George Kenneth Griffey Jr. I mean, the man was amazing. The only thing that could stop him was injuries. The guy was just great. I remember, I love saying Griffey in '96. That was a great commercial back in the day. But like I said, I got Griffey batting third. Cleanup at the designated hitter spot, somebody who I feel is extremely underrated. Eddie Murray, he played a great first base for the Orioles, played for the Indians as well. Just amazing hitter. I mean, he's one of few people that have 3,000 hits and 500 home runs and wasn't on the juice. Again, extremely underrated player. So I'm going to have him batting cleanup. Batting fifth at first base, the big hurt himself, Frank Thomas. Again, a little bit underrated because he played for some crappy White Sox teams when he came up. But again, 500 home runs, I mean, you can't beat that. Batting, what am I at? Batting sixth is an all-time great, Mike Schmidt in the 3-hole. Multiple MVPs, World Series champ, multiple All-Stars. I mean, you can't beat it. I know you arguably people say him and Eddie Matthews were the greatest third basemen of all time. Obviously, I'm in the Michael Jack Schmidt camp there. Batting seventh, second baseman, Chase Utley. Blue-collar guy, love him, worked hard. I mean, he stuck it to the Mets, which, bonus points for me because if you know me, you know how much I hate the Mets. So that's Utley in the seventh spot. Batting eighth, behind the plate, Yadier Molina. Great defensive catcher, just for so many years, multiple All-Stars. You need somebody like that in your dream lineup during this time frame. So Yadi's in the eighth spot. Batting ninth at short, I could have went back and forth between this person and Omar Vizquel, but you can't beat the Wizards glove. Ozzie Smith is going to be my shortstop batting in the ninth hole because he wasn't that great of a hitter. So that's the lineup. So rotation in the top spot, my favorite pitcher growing up as a kid was Greg Maddux. Just a wizard. Just very it's funny, like as they said in the Ken Burns baseball documentaries, like, he'd wear the glasses in the dugout and he looked like a CPA during the day, but when he was on the mound, the man was lights out. One of the greatest matchups I've ever seen live was Maddux versus my number 3 starter, and I'll get to him in a minute. And it was a 1-0 game. I think the Braves won like a Ryan Klesko sac fly. Second in my rotation is Randy Johnson in the big unit. That slider was amazing. Very intimidating pitcher. Pitched a no-hitter, Hall of Famer. You can't beat that man. He's a great pitcher. You got to have him. As aforementioned, the three spot, Pedro Martinez is my 3 guy. The guy was just great. He had some filthy, nasty stuff. They didn't like that time where he played for the Mets, but what are you going to do? Fourth, Roy Halladay. I mean, had a dominant career. He kind of broke down at the end, but one of my favorite baseball memories was when he pitched that no-hitter against the Reds in the playoffs. And the first thing I did is I called my dad. And the first thing out of my mouth was, I can't believe you walked that guy. Doc was amazing. And then rounding out the 5 spot in the rotation is a little bit of a surprise, probably for everybody. But I remember growing up watching this guy, and I loved him. And Hideo Nomo is going to be my number 5. The windup was great. Pitched really well. Fun trivia fact, he is the only pitcher in Major League Baseball history to pitch a no-hitter completely out of the stretch. It rained in Colorado. It was after a rain delay, and he didn't like his grip on the mound, so he just pitched from the stretch the entire time and wanted to pitch a no-hitter on it. So that's Nomo in the 5, and then I'm just going to give you a closer. I mean, you got to enter Sandman right here. Mariano Rivera. I mean, the fact that more people have walked on the moon than have scored on Mo is just, it speaks for itself. I mean, again, life's on the line. It's the 9th inning. You got to hear Enter Sandman. So that's my lineup. Like I said, there's going to be some other ones. But again, this is from 1988 to 2010. And for me, that'll end the inning, but I'd love to hear what your guys' lineup is. So with that note, cheers.
Joe, as always, thank you. You are one of my favorite people to hear from, especially when it comes to making lists. You're just really good at making lists.
It really is great to see Joe. Like we were on a stretch there where we didn't know if Joe was alive. Like we were putting him on milk cartons. I was calling up some milk companies. I was like, listen, he's probably locked in a lid somewhere, or he's probably just sleeping in a car. Like we gotta find him. And on the milk carton, it literally said bag of donuts, lost, ? Found, not yet. Height and weight, I was like, I don't know, dude, like 7'1", like $110. I don't know.
No, and then you texted me and you said, wait, how tall is he? I said he's anywhere between 5'2" and 16 feet.
Like the Loch Ness Monster.
Yeah, you never know where he's going to be at. I mean, some days it's really hot, so he's super long. Some days it's super cold, and he's just compact. I don't know why I just compared him to a phallic male organ.
It's just a,
I'm so sorry, Joe. I love you, buddy.
Joe,
But
great to see you. Thank you.
you're the best. But yeah, speaking of dicks,
Oh boy.
we were just talking about the White Sox, and it got
Yep.
me thinking. So, one of the worst things I've ever seen was the Aaron Rowan injury. We got him that year from the White Sox.
Yep.
But that's not the worst injury I think I've ever seen in baseball. Jay, what's the worst injury you've ever seen in baseball?
Oh goddamn.
Is it going to be the same one? Because I think mine might be the most horrific sighting I've ever seen in baseball.
So I really haven't seen any injuries live.
Oh, no, I'm not talking about live.
But-
Because that's a freak occurrence.
Well, like
It's a freak
in general. Oh man, I really wish I could remember the pitcher. I know he was on Tampa Bay. The name's escaping me right now. It'll come to me. This pitcher took a liner straight off the head.
Was it Savali?
And I don't think it was Savali. I think it was before Savali came over.
Okay.
But he took this thing straight off the dome. Like, it knocked him out. And I
Yeah.
remember just sitting there like, he's not moving. Like, he might be dead. To the point where they started bringing the card out, and I was like, oh my God, like, did we just see someone die?
Yeah.
And
That was that. I remember that one. Give me 2 seconds. I know I can find it.
Alex Cobb, that's it.
Yeah, his was rough, dude. His was really rough. I mean, I knew exactly what you're talking
Nailed.
about, but as soon as I put the name to like the face, so obviously we all know about the Aaron Rowan one. The Aaron
Yep.
Rowan one, our home ballpark, it changed the way that our ballpark was actually structured in the outfield for protection, because for some reason we just overlooked the fact there shouldn't be padding on metal bars that are eye level. Oops. But I truly think mine was 9 years ago. I actually remember watching this at a bar. It was like I dropped my beer and broke the bottle on the floor because I was like, "Oh shit!" There was like 3 other people watching with me because obviously it was a bar with many TVs, and we all went, "Holy shit! What the? No way!" We thought he was gonna die. Do you remember Dan Jennings from the Marlins? When he took that line drive
It rings a bell.
directly off his forehead, and it went ricocheted over towards right field. He did the spin pivot in the dirt on his side in front of the mound and was like, and everyone's like, what the hell just happened? Is he alive? And he's just deadpan staring. Like, you saw absolute, like, trauma and scarring for life in his eyes as he's standing there with his hands on his knees. And there's another, I think it was the first baseman who came running up and then just kind of like grabbed him by the shoulder so he didn't just keel over and die. Oh, it was horrific. Like, it's one of those things that's actually like burned into my memory. It was awful to witness. 99.9% sure I never saw him again in the majors.
Yeah, I think that took him out.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of hard to imagine ever coming back from that.
I watch it. I'll have to watch it later.
Yeah, it was. It's one of those ones that you shouldn't watch right before you get to bed because you're gonna be like, "Oh, what happens if like my shelf breaks and something hits me in the forehead while I'm sleeping? Is this how I'm gonna wake up with?"
I gotta tell you this because it caught me so off guard. So obviously, we both love the movie Basketball, right?
Of course.
You
Steve
remember
Carey.
when he's sitting on the couch, and then the movie flips over to Roadkill caught on tape,
Oh,
and he's just
oh, oh.
some asshole on YouTube made a compilation of pitchers getting smoked by comebackers, and I'm just sitting on the couch, just oh God, just and they're doing it to like a song, and every time the pitcher gets hit, the song goes into a breakdown, and I'm just like, oh no, I'm like, oh God.
Kind of rude. Kind of rude. But
I saw Alex Cobb
I do
get
love it.
smacked by the liner, and I was like, oh, Jesus.
Dude,
Yeah, man, what is this?
that brings me to my second two-part of this question.
All right.
Do you think pitcher is the most dangerous position to play?
150 fucking percent.
You're also talking about the fact that a catcher, mind you, they have pads and guards, is a lot closer.
Still pitcher.
Yeah, I mean, you're so unprotected.
Dude, all it
Directly.
takes is one bad pitch.
Not even a bad pitch. What happens if they hit a
Just-
really good pitch and
Yeah.
it just
One
goes right back and you're all of a sudden Dan Jennings and you forgot what century you're in?
Dan Jennings is still sitting at home, just like he's like, honey, we need to milk the cows, and she's like, you need to snap out of this 1800s and come back to 2024. He's like, I'm gonna walk down to the market and see if they have that new cow, and it's like, all right, Dad, later, bud.
You're in a wheelchair. You can't leave, Dan. I put a board standing upright, a 2x4 upright at the door. You can't get past that.
Like, nah, pitcher is definitely the most dangerous.
I mean, it's hard to argue. So honorable mention to worst injury I've ever seen. Remember when Carlos Beltran and Mike Cameron collided for the Mets in the outfield?
No,
That might be a little bit before your time of steady paying attention to the game. Because I think that was maybe 04, 05, maybe. Dude, it was a rough face-on-face collision. Whilst both were diving.
this.
That's pain. Listen, as a person who is okay with Mets being hurt, you don't want to see that. You don't want to see two people almost break their necks.
So, speaking of collisions that just went sideways, you snapped open my memory on this.
Is it the two Rays who scissored?
No, something a million times worse.
Oh?
It was bad. We're talking the Boston Red Sox. Shout out the boys of Section 10. MLB game was shout out yesterday. Awesome to see. Keep up the great work, guys. We're talking Damian Jackson, former Boston Red Sox, colliding with Johnny Damon. Damn near killing Johnny Damon.
Oh, yeah.
Damon shouldn't have survived this. My man was gone.
That was rough.
The next day, Johnny Damon's back in the fucking lineup.
And
Like, Johnny Damon gets fucking rocked. Like, they carted Johnny Damon off the field, and the next day he's batting cleanup. Johnny Damon can't see straight, and they're like, yo, we need you, dude. Like, how do you do that to someone? Like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, honestly.
Like,
But
man.
we got a little bit of breaking news before we start to dive into the end of the show with a very nice shout out to some amazing guys throughout history. But as of right now, Juan Soto was removed from tonight's Yankees game during a 1-hour rain delay. No word why. I don't think the score was that like high.
No, I
I
think
mean,
it was like
Yankees are winning
7-5.
8-5.
Oh, okay, so they're 8 now. Oh boy.
Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed he has
Oh,
turf
man.
toe or something.
Turf
I'm
toe
sick.
or
I want it to be a non-threatening injury. Turf toe, a ruptured
dude, the hate
testicle.
is real. A ruptured testicle. Shout out who ruptured their testicle? Was that Hunter Renfro?
No, who the
No,
hell
no,
was
no.
that?
No, it was Mitch Haniger.
Yes,
Mitch
yes,
ruptured testicle
dude.
Haniger.
The Marlins are the only team in baseball history to have like 4 or 5 guys go in the DL from testicle issues.
Nah, it's the Mariners.
Yeah,
Let's go to
dude.
Marlins.
Oh shit, sorry. The Mariners, the Northwest. My bad. Not the Southeast. My bad. I'm talking about. There's got to be something in that rainwater up there that just does not agree with junk.
My favorite thing was when the Mariners put that on Twitter, be like, "Wow, Mitch Haniger's going on the 10-day DL with a ruptured testicle." The comments were just like, "What? What do you mean he ruptured a testicle?"
What'd you do?
Everyone's like, "Yo, bro, like maybe once or twice a day, but Jesus Christ, you don't got to go 5 or 6."
Like, I understand testosterone levels, but come on, guys. Jeez, what are
The
you guys
fact-
doing?
The fact he was only on the 10-day DL is insane. Like if I blew out a testicle, you might as well just put me out for the next couple of years because
What are you talking about, dude? What are you talking about? The week after that happens, you're taking me down to the fucking shore and you're spreading my ashes.
I'm done. I'm gone.
I'm going to set myself on fire out back and just let you guys just like end up finishing it off.
Straight on rupturing testicles, man.
Ah, nope. Just let me die.
Like-
Let me die.
Could you imagine having to give that presser though? Being like, yeah, we saw Mitch Haniger left the field. Is everything all right? He's like, yeah, he's got a baseball related injury, and then it
What's
comes
this
out,
hockey?
and
What's
then it
this
comes out
hockey?
the next day, and it's like, yeah, he ruptured a testicle, and you're like, baseball related, like how? Did he get hit in
Because-
the nuts?
Because of ball?
Yeah, like was he grabbing the bat a little too hard? You know what I mean?
Give him some pine tar.
I really wonder how Mitch Haniger's doing. Yo, can we get Mitch Haniger on the pod? And the minute he pops up, like, can we just be like,
How's the
"Yo,
nuts?
sir, yeah, how'd you rupture a testicle?" And he's like, immediately log off for like, and that was Mitch Haniger. Great having him. Thank you.
No. The best way to approach that, 100%, the best way to approach that is just make subtle references. Hey, Mitch, have you ever just felt nuts? Like during the game? Like, you ever just like something happened, you're like, oh god, this is horrible. And you're just like, oh, this is nuts. Ugh. You know what? I remember that time I had 2 balls. Really? Just? Well, why are you stopping the sentence with I had 2 balls? What happened to the other one? Well, let me tell you.
Okay, so wait, to clear something up, Mitch Haniger ruptured his testicle by fouling a ball off himself. He hit the ball and smoked his nuts. Oh god. Yeah, but the crazy part is he actually stayed in that game and had another at bat.
Listen. Have you ever accidentally just caught a little tap? Caught a little tap and you're just down for the count, right?
Yeah, small tap, sure. Not fouling off a ball and putting it straight
Not
into
a
my
ruptured boy.
Yeah, not fucking.
Not
going.
Not looking at it
Mike
that your
Tyson.
boy is going to have to go to the hospital.
Yeah, not going full Mike Tyson right hook to my fucking
Ooh.
to my sack. All right.
Dude.
Enough of the testicle talk.
Yeah,
Jesus
That's-
Christ.
That's old news. That wasn't recent.
That-
We spent way too much time on that.
yeah, we're going like 5-6 years ago, maybe at most.
Yeah. All right. So we get Jay. You have one of the more important shout outs where we're gonna have.
Yes, sir. On this day in MLB history, all games are canceled due to the country's focus on the Allied invasion of France. 500 major league players would join the fight in World War II. Names you'll most likely recognize being Bob Feller, Ted Williams, and Hank Greenberg. And today, on June 6th, marks the 80th anniversary of D-Day, of when the United States landed on the beaches in Normandy and surrounding areas. I really want to give a sign of respect to two major league ball players. As far as we know, there's only two of them that passed away during World War II, that being Elmer Gedeon and Harry O'Neill. And not only that, but I also want to give a little shout out to, all of the people that went over to fight and lost their life, because World War II was a very insane time for the world. And I can't believe it's been 80 years. It's insane when you see the age of some of these kids who went and uh, and stormed this beach. Like, it's crazy. Kids as young as probably 16, 17, guys as old as 35, all just doing this together, and it's a damn shame. And may their lives never be forgotten. May their sacrifices never be forgotten. And just a shout out to everybody who fought in World War II, knew somebody who fought during the war. Thank you for your service, and God bless.
I want to give a shout out to someone's family that I know. Absolutely one of the biggest heroes that I could possibly ever have. He is a legend. He has been put into actual, basically, the lore of history of what this country is today. Uh, Wild Bill Garnier, born and raised Philadelphia. Um, he served with Easy Company in the 506th Parachute Infantry Regiment in the 101st Airborne. He was part of the invasion of Normandy on D-Day. I know his family. Well, I know some of his family. She is hands down one of the nicest people I've ever met in my life. She was one of the first people to hold my child. She's a nurse with the hospital that our child was delivered at. Wild Bill Garnier, you are absolutely, you're a whole different level above what people should be. You did everything you possibly could to make sure that your friends and people who are sitting in a ditch next to you were safe. You are the definition of a hero. Nothing but respect. I'm very proud to call you a hero. And this nation should as well. I mean, you survived some of the biggest things possible. D-Day is one of the biggest things that this world has ever seen. You were a part of it. You jumped out of a freaking perfectly good airplane to fight in a war that you personally had nothing to do with. Because you are a hero. You have the biggest blood boiling testosterone any man could have ever had. And I will never not give you respect. And I'm proud to try to know people who from your lineage, and that means a lot. Bill, you're one of the best humans ever on this planet, and I truly admit it.
I think it's only fair that we give them a nice moment of silence just for their sacrifice. Just once again, thank you very much for all the service. And if you knew somebody who was in the war, if you have family that was in the war, just remember to reach out and say thank you for all that they did, because they went through more than I think any of us could ever really imagine.
It's one of the greatest achievements that men have ever accomplished. Unfortunately, it had to happen.
Yep. To jump back into baseball, Rich, you got any baseball-related final thoughts?
Yeah, I wish Benny Biceps would actually show off his biceps and do something. Listen, man, there were heroes that jumped out of perfectly good airplanes in 1942. And what exactly are you doing? Listen, man, you're showing up to U.S. Cellular Field or whatever the hell it's called now. Guaranteed Rate Field. Yeah, you're showing up to Guaranteed Rate Field.
Guaranteed rate.
See, that's how irrelevant your franchise is. Benny Biceps, grow up. You are literally the veteran on that goddamn team. And you're just showing up being like, you know what? I can be the worst player on this team. And we have Martin Maldonado. No.
Fucking insane.
Sick of it. Sick of it. It's gross. It's embarrassing.
All right, that's a hell of a final thought.
You got bags from two different teams. Come on, man.
For my final thought, I got to give a shout out. I got to. My boy, Starling Kaba, baby.
He's doing it, man. There's a ladder in front of him, and he's climbing it.
He's climbing that son of a bitch. And Rich, I really hate to say I agree with you, but he's looking more and more like trade bait as the days go along.
What else is he going to be?
Which breaks my heart. Hold on. It breaks my heart because there's just not a spot for him on this team. I love Starling Kaba. I'll follow him. I really hope at some point we can get him and a translator on here.
Okay, how old is he?
Starling Kaba is, give me 1 second, he's 18 years old.
Okay, he just turned 18, correct? Because he was under 18 before the season started, or
when the Phillies signed him. When the Phillies signed him 2 years ago, he was only 17, 16, something like that.
So we're dealing with another one of the situations where the Phillies will not rush a player.
No.
But you can't rush a player to nowhere.
I know. That's a shame.
By the time he's in his mid to late 20s, Trey Turner still has 4 years left in his contract.
I know, and that's why I'm saying it's tough to admit, but he's looking like trade bait. I get it. Listen, it's going to break my heart because I love Starling Kaba. It is. But I just want to give him a shout out because the dude has worked his ass off. He's officially a top 100 baseball prospect.
Which is amazing.
He's top 5 in the Phillies system now.
Which is crazy.
Please keep up the great work. You're having an amazing season right now for the FCL Phillies.
8 neutral site games.
Dude, wherever Starling goes, I'll follow. I'll get a jersey when he makes his debut. Like I said, I would love to get him on the pod at some point.
He's going to play 8 neutral site games at somewhere in this country for the A's.
I'll buy that jersey.
No.
I admit it.
I won't let you.
Hands up. I'll buy a Kaba jersey.
Until John Fisher kicks the bucket, you are not buying any A's merch.
We'll see about
Stop it.
that.
Stop.
But, Rich, I think it's time to send them home. What do you think?
Boys, girls, family, friends, children, whatever you are, whatever you want to be, just stay drunk.
I'm Jay. That's Rich. This is Drunks on the Pond, episode 12. We'll be back next Saturday. New episode. Z, do me a favor, baby. Hit the music. Peace out.